Back here on the Cover 3 podcast over on CBSSports.com. I'm sure you went, that's because you've made it, a natural part of your every single day, checking it out. You saw that the CBS Sports 138 released a batch of post-spring rankings. Yes, the CBS Sports 136 has grown. Congratulations. We added Sacramento State and North Dakota State to the picture, but the teams at the top should look very familiar. The Ohio State Buckeyes are at number 1 in the new CBS Sports 138, followed by Texas at 2, Oregon at 3, Notre Dame at 4, and Georgia at 5. Rest of the top 10 includes Indiana, Miami, Texas A&M, Texas Tech, and Oklahoma, Alabama, and Ole Miss round out the top 12. I mentioned I've got a note here specifically on the balloting to come up in a little bit, but just to your eye, Danny, first glance, what stands out about the top dozen? And again, these are compiled from ballots of CBSSports.com and 24/7 Sports writers and experts.
I think it's a couple things. One, I'm kind of comping this off of our top 10s that we did. Was that Friday?
Yeah, the power rankings.
Yeah, when we did our power rankings. A lot of love for Oklahoma, which I totally understand. Keeping Texas Tech in the top 10 despite the uncertainty at quarterback, and wanting to see more from LSU, like not giving LSU the benefit of the doubt and saying, well, they have Lane Kiffin and they have the top, portal class and maybe the most money spent on their roster, which I am totally okay with. Like that LSU is not on this first page. I think those are some of the things that jumped out to me.
Here's what jumped out to me. Again, it was something that I was privileged with because I had to write write the article to present the CBS Sports 138 to the public at large. Stryker, I know you. Thank you for putting this together. So to explain the numbers on the screen, these are the average ballot position from all of these different teams. Okay. So for those of you listening, Ohio State, while they are number 1 in the final rankings, they had the best average ballot ranking, but that was a 2.0. Texas, average ballot position, 2.6. Oregon, 3.5. Notre Dame, 4.0. And Georgia, 4.6. That was the top tier. The next team in the rankings, Indiana, had an average ballot position of 6.3. So what this shows me, Danny, is that while our collection of CBS Sports and 24/7 Sports experts seem to agree generally on the top 5 teams, there is very little agreement on the order they should be in or who should be number 1.
Which, again, I think mimics what we went through in our drill. I don't think we all had kind of the same teams in different orders. I think this is great for college football, that there isn't a clear cut, like, oh my gosh, that's the team. You could make a strong case for any one of these to be the number 1 team. Absolutely.
I think you could put Indiana in that spot.
Absolutely.
You could put Miami in that spot. To me, the college football landscape as I see it has like 7 number 3 teams.
Yeah.
We're just waiting. We don't have any number 1s. I think that's going to be one of my themes of the offseason. We have no number 1 team yet. Now, Ohio State and Texas will play each other in week 2. That will be an incredible opportunity to be able to see who can have the best claim to number 1. This is as though our prize fighter retired and the belt is just up for grabs. And you've got to go and you've got to beat another contender for us to really believe that you are going to be the number 1 team in the country. Because while all of these teams have reasons that you would get behind them. Let's take Ohio State, for example. Ohio State just lost loads of NFL draft picks on the defensive side. And while I hear you that Jeremiah Smith is a superstar and that Julian Sayin was a Heisman finalist, where were the touchdowns in the final 2 losses of the season to Indiana and Miami? Because they just came a few scores short, and those players are now going to be tasked with leading the charge. Texas Longhorns, super talented roster. Same thing. Ended in the Cheez-It Bowl. Oregon just lost 2 coordinators, 2 head coaching jobs, not to mention the NFL draft picks. Notre Dame, CJ Carr's back. That's awesome. They are the ones you could argue have the most certainty, and yet I think the ceiling for some of those other teams is a little bit higher. Georgia's a fun one here. I want to throw up this comment. Let's see. Jerry jumped in the tailgate before we got started, said, interested to hear about my dogs. Is it possible to quietly be a top 5 team? Not a lot of hype around them. No top NFL prospect, NIL, or transfer drama. Jerry, don't jinx it by saying no. There are so many
long summer.
Left.
Long summer.
We have already, yeah. But do you agree with that? This is the Georgia kind of a quiet top 5 team at this point in the proceedings.
Definitely. With their quarterback coming back, I think it's interesting too, because I think we get enamored with new coaches and new quarterbacks and big portal classes, right? And while that's not necessarily the case with all of them, that's kind of what LSU goes with. But I think Georgia, absolutely. I mean, Georgia is clearly the team to beat in the SEC. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not even close. So why is Texas getting more love? You know, a lot of it's because of the brand, because Arch Manning, who is a much bigger name and brand than Gunnar Stockton, he's probably has a higher upside as well. But what is Texas' record against Georgia the last couple times? They 0-3? Yeah. So I mean,
before I say that, because it's 2 regular season losses and the SEC championship. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So, but they have struck out 3 times in a row, and yet we're all giving Texas, oh, well, they're gonna do it this year. So yeah, I think he brings up a good point. I think Georgia is kind of a quiet top 5 team, because a lot of these other ones have either more star power or, you know, coaches that are just getting, you know, we're looking for other things when Georgia probably should be given more, you know, credit for the job they've done being a consistent winner.
Right. And just as, again, to voice this to our audience in the tailgate, you know, while you will see these ordinally ranked, the margins between these teams are incredibly tight. You mentioned LSU earlier. I'm going to give you again those average ballot positions. Oklahoma is 11.1. They checked in at 10. Alabama is 11.5. They checked in at 11. Ole Miss just behind them, LSU at 11.8. That is Oklahoma, Alabama, Ole Miss, and LSU, all with an average ballot position in the 11s. Do you know what that tells me? Everyone looked at these teams and called them all B+ SEC teams. We can't tell them apart. We're just waiting for them to beat up on each other and see who can rise to the top. So LSU, again, down there at 13 in the official rankings, average ballot position of 11.8. You can really start to see some of these tiers, and I will continue to bring that information to light as it's kind of fun to engage in the discussions of where these teams stand against each other. Anything else either from, we got the second panel on the board right now, stretching out through the whole top 25. Anything stand out to you?
I think what you said, like there's a bunch, you could make a case to jumble a lot of these teams around, where I think this is one of the best parts about the sport today is some of the parity and making a case. And if you're any one of these programs, you're going to come in with hope and optimism of maybe making a run to the college football playoff, which I think is great.
I thought Clemson made a pretty big offseason jump for a program that lost like 7 NFL draft picks. They finished down at like
9. Wasn't it 9 draft picks, or was it 7?
Was it 9? I mean,
I thought it was 9 and they had 7 wins. They had more draft picks than they had wins. I think that's the line.
I was truly stunned by that one. I think that shows our writers are saying, in my opinion, by moving Clemson all the way up to 26, that they believe there is an addition by subtraction element of taking talented players who have underperformed and just flushing them out of the system and making a change at offensive coordinator and bringing back Chad Morris. Which, by the way, Clemson being the 26th best team in the country is still not anywhere close to where they were at their peak. But this is assuming that there might be some positivity to be gained from a reboot of getting all those players out and letting a new regime take over.
Yeah,
that's my guess here.
Striker's killing me.
Why?
Because I'm in a good mood. I'm going to play some golf this afternoon.
Nice.
And he just puts in the chat, and he puts it in our DM. He said, we really need to see where Danny thinks FSU is ranked. Like, so he just wants to set me off in a bad mood.
You want to guess?
I did not see yet. I haven't looked at the back end.
Okay, let's see.
I'll guess 51.
All right. See, we've got it. Oh, does he already have it pulled up?
47.
Right. Good guess.
47. Okay.
So
right
your neighbor
Northwestern, but behind UNLV. Come on, what are we doing?
We love UNLV.
We do. I love Dan Mullen.
We love UNLV.
You know what? That is 100% fine with me. That's probably where they deserve to be. They need to go out and prove it, and that's why I'm going to hold out for some optimism and say they over deliver this year. Lower expectations. This could be a good spot for them.
I hate to put our beloved ACC on blast here.
There's a lot of teams.
This is another stretch that kind of indicates what we're talking about. Like, this is the JV version of the SEC having 4 teams no one can figure out inside the top 20. This is all just inside the top 50, right?
Yeah.
Duke, NC State, Pitt, Georgia Tech, Duke, NC State, Wake Forest, Florida State. That tells me that voters were all grabbing, yeah, and throw another ACC team or two in there in that spot. So it'll be interesting to see what how it all steps. What's the big ham sandwich in the middle of the conference? That's what you're looking at right there. Is a bunch of teams that are somewhere between the 40th and 50th best team in the country.